Now on Coast TV News.
Winter is knocking. How people along the coast are getting ready for the first flakes of the season. And a head start. DelDOT's plan to keep roads from turning slick when that initial snow catches drivers off guard.
We're bracing for up to 2 inches of snow in some areas. I'll update you on the latest our winter mix headed our way.
This is Coast TV News at 11.
Here's a live look outside into Lewis. There's no snow yet, but it could be on the way. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. I'm Christina DeRobertis. Well, roads across Sussex County are getting a wintry warm-up. DelDOT was out brining. The trucks were out there ahead of this expected snow tomorrow. We spoke with one woman in Sussex County who says she's not going anywhere tomorrow.
I have no plans to go out. I've cleared my calendar, so I'll stay inside and stay warm.
Yeah, that's the way to do it, but not everyone can stay inside. A lot of people we spoke with on the coast were out getting shovels today. They say that was the go-to at the hardware stores. Also, people were hitting grocery stores, getting some comfort foods, hot chocolate, soup, things like that. Ace Hardware in Milton, they tell us people have been preparing all week.
They're coming, and they've been thinking about it. So, and we've, already snow blowers are flying out of here. Snow shovels seem to be the product this year.
And with the snow in mind, let's take a live look into Rehoboth Beach now and turn it right over to our First Alert Chief Meteorologist, Paul Williams.
Well, right now we're still very mindful of the wintry mix that's on the way, likely to start kicking around our neck of the woods around 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. Continue throughout the morning, mid-morning, going to the, let's say, lunchtime hour, and then we'll see it change over to rain. Now we're at 37 degrees in Rehoboth right now. We are going to drop below freezing very quickly by about midnight after that, and then we start seeing in Rehoboth that the snow could start as early as 3 o'clock. We've done a new run of the models, and it's still looking pretty close to uniform here, but we're starting to see more possibility of heavier rainfall towards Salisbury and along Highway 50. But we're still looking for a range between a ½ inch to 2 inches. So the amount hasn't changed. The focus to where it's going to hit has changed ever so slightly, but not drastically so far. We're still under a winter weather advisory for along Highway 354 near Truett, as well as it's inclusive of Goodwill Community, Girdle Tree, and then over towards Cambridge, Church Creek, Bucktown, and Rocky Hook. And so this area in general, we're starting to see early snow making its way across portions of Virginia as we speak. We'll track this and the forecasting models on where this is going to start up in our next weather segment.
Thank you, Paul. And so far this season, it's really just mostly been cold rain for Delmarva. That's about to change. As Paul just said, snow is on the way. DelDOT's getting ready to go. Bob Trihey visited the department's salt yard today.
With the first snowflakes of the season expected to fall across Delmarva, DelDOT is ready, whether it's a dusting or a major snowfall.
Right here behind me is about 4,000 tons of salt. You've got some solar salt in front of us and regular salt. Basically, we're ready to go here, and all of our barns are equipped throughout the county.
Alistair Prober, DelDOT engineer in Sussex County, says the first snow event of the season is typically the worst one. There's a telltale sign for motorists of snowy weather to come.
If we're going to get a snow event where it starts off as snow and there's no rain initially, then we'll go out there and we'll apply brine, which is those lines on the roadway that everybody sees. And that's typically an advance notice for everybody, like, hey, there is snow coming.
Probert says 80 plow trucks are ready to go if a wintry event is on the way.
The loader would come into the building, they'd grab a bucket of salt out of here, they'd come out of the building, and they'd go up the ramp over there. We'd have a plow truck sitting there ready, and then they would dump directly into the back of the plow truck.
On snowy days, you'll see these kind of plows on the roads in Delmarva, but in extreme cases, they step up their game.
You're looking at the one of the biggest snow blowers that we have. This deal, and it's in here to go through, make sure it all runs. We pretty much make sure all the wear teeth are where they should be so they don't start wearing into your actual blades that pick up the snow.
When the flakes fly, the road crews will be ready. For Coast TV, I'm Bob Trihey.
And we're going to check in on our Coast TV poll now. We're asking, how do you get ready for a winter storm? Let's see, let's look at the results. 30% buy groceries, 2% check their heating, 11% say they prep the car, 57% though, most people are just winging it. They're not preparing, but that's fine. We also have a comment tonight. This is from Tenua Wilkins in Milton, and she says, as long as I have toilet paper and wine, I'm good. I love that. Thank you for the comment, and you can go to coasttv.com or use our mobile app and vote or leave a comment yourself. New today, Delaware State Treasurer Colleen Davis says she's stepping down when her term ends next year. In a Facebook statement, Davis said after months of reflection, it's the right moment to make room for new leadership. She was first elected in 2018. Davis calls her 7 years in office a privilege, highlighting some investment gains like COVID-era savings for taxpayers, also the launch of Delaware Earns retirement program. She says she'll use the remaining 13 months to keep state finances strong and to ensure a smooth transition. Also, Maryland House Speaker Adrienne Jones is stepping down from her leadership role at the end of the year. Governor Wes Moore praised her announcement, calling Jones a mentor and a history-making leader who spent 5 decades putting service first. He credited her with major achievements like improving school facilities to bolstering HBCUs and creating the Department of Social and Economic Mobility. Jones will continue serving District 10 as a delegate, and Moore says he'll work with House leaders to ensure a smooth transition. Now to Dover, where people on East Lockerman Street are raising concerns about speeding. People living there say drivers use the street as a shortcut between Route 13 and Route 8. The neighbors say they've turned it into a dangerous raceway. Neighbors proposed closing the neighborhood entrance, but the city rejected that request. Instead, the city plans to propose new speed signs and striping at next week's council meeting to help slow down traffic.
That tends to slow people down. If they come into a road that's just, curb to curb blacktop with no lines on it, it has a different impact on them than if they come to a road that's got, the 2 white lines for the edge, a center line of yellow. People just got to naturally slow down a little bit. So
now that proposal is set to go before Dover committee members on Tuesday. If approved, it would then move to the full Dover City Council at a later date. Easton wants to modernize its downtown parking system. A plan to replace old meters and kiosks with a new QR code option was discussed at Monday's town council meeting. The town says the QR code would start as a 1-year pilot program, and some businesses we spoke with say the current setup can be confusing for visitors and that a digital system might be easier for everyone.
I think it'll be an asset to the community, really. And you got to grow along with the times. So it's time for a change. The mom and pop days are over with. We're in the 21st century. QR codes are all over the place, almost everywhere you go. So it's something we have to learn to live with.
A public hearing on that proposal is set for December 15th in Easton. In national news tonight, a top Navy admiral heading to Capitol Hill amid growing calls for the Pentagon to release the video of a military strike that killed 2 survivors of an earlier attack. It happened in September off the coast of Venezuela. Some members of Congress worry that the strike constitutes as a war crime, but as NBC's Melanie Zanona reports, the Pentagon and White House insist the incident was legal and justified.
Admiral General, what's your message?
Navy Admiral Frank Bradley on Capitol Hill, showing lawmakers exactly what happened September 2nd, when the U.S. bombed a boat off the coast of Venezuela allegedly carrying drugs, then conducted another strike on 2 survivors floating in the wreckage. Members on both sides of the aisle raising concerns the second strike could have been a war crime.
What I saw in that room was one of the most troubling things I've seen in my time in public service.
Democrats in the briefing reaching far different conclusions than their Republican counterparts.
You have 2 individuals in clear distress, without any means of locomotion, with a destroyed vessel, who were killed by the United States.
No, I didn't see anything disturbing about it.
Arkansas Senator Tom Cotton calling the strike on survivors righteous.
I saw 2 survivors trying to flip a boat loaded with drugs down for the United States, back over, so they could stay in the fight.
President Trump said he supports letting the American public see the video.
I don't know what they have, but whatever they have, we'd certainly release, no problem.
On Wednesday, the president was asked if he supports the decision to kill survivors of an initial military strike.
No, I support the decision to knock out the boats, and whoever's piloting those boats.
A defense official tells NBC News that Admiral Bradley saw the 2 survivors after the first strike as legitimate military targets, based on the rules for the operation.
So to claim that's after the fact is just, again, trying to paper over and justify something that is clearly illegal and unauthorized.
And today, at least one congressional Democrat has called on Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth to resign over information he shared on a Signal group chat back in March related to a pending military operation in Yemen. A new Inspector General report released today says that information was secret and could have endangered U.S. troops. The Pentagon, however, says that this report completely exonerates Hegseth. Melanie Zanona, NBC News, Washington.
And we're just getting started. Still more news ahead. Coming up, caroling on the Circle and how the annual Georgetown event gives back to those in need. But first, neighbors giving back, how one community in Lewis is coming together to help those in need in our Coastal Connections. And coming up, Paul Williams is in our CoastTV First Alert Weather Center tracking your forecast, your full forecast after this.
It's always a good deed to help people that need it. But when a whole neighborhood comes together to do that, the community feels stronger. The donations grow larger. CoastTV News reporter Brandon Ferguson shows us how one neighborhood in Lewis is doing just that.
Neighbors in the Headwater Cove neighborhood in Lewis are giving back to food pantries, Toys for Tots, and the Brandywine Valley SPCA.
It's really a nice thing. And it's also become more of a contagious kind of a thing, too.
Steve McTaggart's wife, Wendy, volunteered the couple to start the donations this June.
Once a month or so, when it gets full, we go deliver them. So we deliver them to the Cape Penelope Food Basket or the Community Resource Center in Rehoboth. And then we work with the Georgetown SPCA to drop off donations for the animals.
McTaggart gets the attention of his neighbors in the Headwater Cove Facebook group with a hat of the day and a list of what the food pantries accepts. Heidi Spinelli has called Headwater Cove home since January. Spinelli says the community has grown so much closer by coming together to give back.
After one day, we had collected over $400. So my neighbor Marcia and I and my husband Vic decided, let's go to BJ's and see what we could buy with this $400. Well, from the time we drove to BJ's, it had gone up to $650. We had to make 2 trips to the food pantry with our SUV full. So it was a great, rewarding experience.
The community donated Thanksgiving food baskets, and now their eyes are on Christmas.
We are having Toys for Tots, that we're bringing toys in for the kids that needs a little bit brighter Christmas.
These donations aren't seasonal. Spinelli says there's more to give back than just food, items that are essential.
Then we do have some plans to do some future projects, for example, personal products for women, because that's something that's never talked about and is so expensive. So that'll be one of our New Year's resolutions, to make sure that we do that.
Neighbors tell us there's no end in sight to the community giving back. For Coastal Connections, I'm Brandon Ferguson.
As we get ready to brace for the first snow for the entire season, need your head in the game, particularly tomorrow morning. If you have to drive, try not to. But if you have to drive, remember, the earlier you drive, the worse it's going to be. And it's just going to be sloppy all morning long. So first and foremost, in Lewis, we're holding at 35 degrees. Dew point is 21. Now, we are expected for the snow to start tapping the door of the folks living in Lewis as early as 3 o'clock in the morning. And that's when the temperature is just going to dip below freezing. Winter weather advisory is in effect. In fact, we're starting to get a couple of flurries, just around the Cambridge area, as well as towards Oakville. In fact, the guys in the studio, if you guys are able to pull up the Cambridge camera, let me know in my ear, because I want to see if we might actually pick up a snowflake or two right now. That just started happening. May not be reaching the ground, but just in case, you guys let me know in my ear. But anyway, we're looking at the small craft advisory still active. So we're looking at breezy conditions as well. We're starting to see the precipitation cross the Chesapeake Bay area. And so now this is the beginning, the tip of the spear, so to speak, as it begins to make its way in a zonal flow in our direction. Widespread snow Friday morning, changes to a rain mix by the afternoon. We're looking at accumulation between a ½ inch to a 2, and we could see cold, raw, and refreezing to occur later the evening for Friday night going into Saturday. Here's a wider view. So we're starting to see the beginning of this by Friday. We're looking at established snow showers by mid-morning, sticking around until 5:30, but then we start seeing the rain taking over for the most southern portions of our viewing area. Now I'm going to break it down a little more neighborhood by neighborhood. Seaford and along Highway 13 by 4:30 in the morning. We're looking at solid snow showers. The purple, the deeper purple, that's a sure bet where the snow is supposed to be. And it's looking pretty uniform. Then it slides more so towards Salisbury about 6 o'clock in the morning. Then we pick up over Del Mar by 8 o'clock. Okay, I'm calling out cities and time frames so you'll know. Along Highway 54 and then along 24 just south of Millsboro by 9:30, and then by 11 o'clock it clears. Now, for the beach communities, Fenwick Island, 4 o'clock in the morning, Bethany Beach. Then it moves up towards Dewey Beach by 6 o'clock. We'll see a few flakes in Lewis by then. By 7:30, everybody should be getting the snow. We'll have heavier snow for us along 20 and 113 between Millsboro and Selbyville. By mid-morning, we'll have the rain starting to take over and it'll change over. Now, the amount has changed. Earlier this evening, we were looking at Seaford getting about 2 inches. It's dropped to just under an inch. But we noticed that the amounts for Del Mar, Salisbury, Berlin, and Selbyville has picked up, but the other locations have lessened because we're looking for the rain to take over a little bit earlier than our earlier run. Here's what has stayed consistently. Friday morning, it's going to feel like the teens in Ellendale, Georgetown, Seaford. Saturday morning, it's going to feel like the 20s. Sunday, we go back to close to teens again. The bitter or the crazy cold comes in right after the snow. Here's a look at your extended forecast. Listen, that cold, oh my goodness. And Monday, we dropped to 19 degrees Monday going into Tuesday. That's not wind chill, that's the actual temperature.
Wow, thank you, Paul. Well, hundreds of people gathered tonight to kick off a Christmas celebration, from caroling on the Circle in Georgetown, also a tree lighting and the annual parade. CoastTV reporter Nicole Richter shows us why this tradition continues to mean so much to the community.
Kids singing on the stage and crowds filling the Circle. It was a Christmas night in Georgetown full of lights, music, and tradition.
It's really exciting and it brings a lot of joy to this time of year.
For Jaden Taylor, who has been coming for more than 15 years, says this event means a lot to him.
I used to be in marching band, and I love to come back and see some of my old friends who are still doing it. It's been a very important part. We come here every single year. It's almost like a tradition.
From children singing a popular Christmas Spanish carol to the moment the tree lit up the night sky, there is no shortage of holiday cheer. And the celebration didn't end there. The annual parade rolled through downtown, bringing out families and a whole lot of community spirit.
It actually means a lot. It's like a tradition I'm really excited to kind of get into, see what it's like from this perspective.
It was a night that brought the community together and set the tone for a season built on togetherness and holiday spirit. In Georgetown, I'm Nicole Richter, Coast TV News.
And this event also serves as the county's yearly food drive for local food banks. So far, the county has collected more than 20,000 food items, and that food drive will run until the end of December.
The holiday season is in full swing, and so is our Bless Our Children campaign. Our tree, it's a little bereft of cards still. We got to get some more on here and some more donations. All of that helps to ensure that every kid on Delmarva has a present to open Christmas morning. We've got this great tree on the front of the card here. It's about to be added to our tree, and it is from Terry and Bill in Milton. Gang, we really appreciate you sending this in. Businesses can help by accepting the Shell Brothers Challenge of donating at least $1,000. And if you want to help send a donation in a holiday card, we might just read it on the air. Send a check or money order to the address on your screen or donate online at blessourchildren.org.
We have already raised over $196,000 to help children and families this holiday season. So again, a thank you to all who have donated. Now it's time for tonight's Holiday House. This time of year, you can send us your pictures, send us your videos of your decorations, and we take a look at them here during our broadcast. Tonight, this picture is from Daniel and Kenny Horseman in Georgetown. They say happy holidays. Look at this cute setup. Is that a rolling pin? I love that. And the nutcrackers, a great tree in the background too. Thank you, Daniel and Kenny. We love this picture. Thank you for sharing. And we want to see your pictures as well. So go to coasttv.com/holidayhouse. Send your pictures, send your videos, and we might show them right here on TV. Coming up in sports, the Blue Hens finished their first season in Conference USA. See who made the all-conference team after the break. And coming up, new guidelines, what's changing for cervical cancer screening and how a self-test could help.
This is Coast TV News at 11.
We're back with health news now. A mysterious vomiting disorder associated with chronic cannabis use has now been formally recognized by global health officials as cases grow nationwide. The World Health Organization has added cannabis hyperemesis syndrome to its diagnostic manual. The condition affects long-term and daily marijuana users with stomach issues like severe nausea, vomiting, and in rare cases, seizures, kidney failure, even death. With the formal recognition, doctors can now identify, track, and study it to get a better idea of how to treat the condition, but the only known way to cure the syndrome is to stop smoking cannabis. It was once one of the most common causes of cancer death for women in the U.S., but the American Cancer Society says the cervical cancer death rate has dropped by more than half since the 1970s. That's thanks to prevention and screening. And today the organization is announcing new updates to screening guidelines for the disease. Mandy Gaither goes over those changes that every woman should know.
First, the bad news. In the U.S. this year alone, it's estimated that more than 13,000 new cases of invasive cervical cancer will be diagnosed, and more than 4,000 women will die from the disease. But the good news is those numbers have dropped dramatically over the years, but not everywhere.
There's wide disparities in this country amongst cervical cancer rates, and particularly in rural areas, and particularly in the rural South, we continue to see many women presenting to physicians with advanced cervical cancer.
That's why the American Cancer Society is releasing these new guidelines today for cervical cancer screening aimed at reducing deaths from the disease. While the traditional method of a pap smear every 5 years remains the preferred screening method, there's now an acceptable option for women at average risk who don't want a pelvic exam. Taking one of 2 FDA-approved self-collection tests is now recommended every 3 years, as long as the results are negative through age 65.
We know, particularly if it's difficult in making an appointment, some women may have privacy concerns initially. So we do think having the ability to have FDA-approved tests every 3 years for self-collection is a wonderful other option.
For women older than age 65 who have had adequate prior screening and not otherwise at high risk, screening is no longer recommended by the organization.
If you're at higher risk because you have HIV disease, you have immunosuppression, your screening should be done with the work through a physician.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Delmarva Sports Network from the Wawa Studios.
Good evening, folks. The end of the college football regular season means it's time to hand out some accolades. Let's see which of your favorite Blue Hens made the Conference USA teams for what they did in 2025. Congratulations to wide receiver Kyrie Duplessis and offensive lineman Finton Brose, who were named to the first team All-Conference USA offense. Duplessis racked up 57 catches for 782 yards and 5 touchdowns. Brose, a team captain, started in all 10 games for the Hens, only allowing 2 sacks all season and none in the team's final 8 games. according to Pro Football Focus. Defensive back KT Say made first-team all-conference on the defensive side for Delaware. Say tied for the 6th most interceptions in the conference this season and racked up 84 tackles. He also led Delaware in solo tackles with 56. Headlining the second-team honors for the Blue Hens, quarterback Nick Minicucci was named to second-team All-Conference USA. He was impressive after Zach Marker went down with a season-ending injury on the team's first drive of the season. Minicucci led the conference in passing yards, completions, passing yards per game, total offense per game, and points responsible for. Great season for Minicucci. He's also joined by captain offensive lineman Steven Demboski, kicker Nate Reed, and kick returner Myson Pollard on the second-team All-Conference USA. A great first season at the FBS level for Delaware. That'll do it for sports. Have a great night, everyone.
So we're still concerned about the snow for tomorrow. Keep that in mind. In Cambridge, we're trying to pull that up. We pulled it up now. We're not seeing the snow manifest itself just yet, but we are starting to see the moisture creates at least some drops. Winter weather advisory is in effect. We're starting to see the upper atmosphere, a bit of a Virga action happening. It's snowing aloft but not reaching the ground just yet, but we're starting to see the snow already begin to take over the Chesapeake Bay area. Just brace yourself for a very messy commute. Paul Till, you're our umbrella winner. Congratulations, courtesy of Paul Davis. Check on the weather with your weather line. Brockstedt, Mendalis, and Federico are our sponsors. And finally, here's a look at our exclusive 10-day forecast. Cold after the snow leaves.
Thanks, Paul. And finally tonight we got a fun story to end off on. You're looking at Cloud Dancer. That's the shade crowned color of the year for 2026 by the Pantone Color Institute. The organization is considered a top authority on color, and they forecast trends and advise brands. So what do you think about Cloud Dancer?
Looks like old white paint.
It's kind of boring.
Yeah, like old white paint.
Yeah.
Without the chips.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know, but that's what they say. Thank you for joining us for the news at 11 tonight. You can always find more news on our news app. We'll see you tomorrow for Coast TV News at 5 a.m. The Tonight Show is next.
Have a great night.